First and most importantly, you need to find a good location to shoot. It helps to shoot a long exposure photo at night, especially if you're hoping to capture light trails. Doing a long exposure in the afternoon can be incredibly difficult to pull off because the sun creates too much light. You'll also need a tripod, as you won't be able to avoid camera shake if you try to shoot a long exposure handheld. For our shoot, we decided to hit the pedestrian bridge connecting main campus to the Millennium Center, with North State of Franklin being right below us. We figured we'd be able to capture some pretty good shots over a 4-lane highway. Next, you want to make sure you're shooting with a low shutter speed. Something below 2 or 3 seconds will work. While a shutter speed around 1/20th can give you some motion blur, you won't get those nice defined light trails you're looking for. This photo was shot at 1/50th of a second, and as you can see, there's no movement at all. If you're not getting enough motion, drop your shutter speed to around 3 to 5 seconds and let it roll. You'll also want to shoot with a wide aperture, but if you shoot in shutter priority mode, you can just focus on nailing the shutter speed. If you hit the shutter and realize your photo has a lot of terrible motion or camera shake, it means that you either need to set a self timer, use a cable shutter release, or, as is common with some DSLRs, use your phone as the shutter release. Depressing the shutter can cause the camera to move a lot on the tripod, thus ruining your shot. Even if you're careful and hit the shutter softly, a long exposure will pick up any motion of the camera and you'll still be left with a ruined shot. It also helps in terms of interesting motion blur to capture things like semi-trucks or emergency vehicles. Their light trails can look pretty cool if you capture it correctly. During our shoot, we had a few ambulances come by, but couldn't get it just right. When you finally nail the photo you're looking for, you should end up with something that looks like this. Another tip, capturing cars merging in your exposure can lead to some interesting lines that stand out a bit more. Sometimes, even when you nail every aspect of what you'd hoped to do, the shots just don't come together like you hoped. In that case, don't get discouraged. Just move around and look for other interesting angles that you think would lead to a good photo. Sometimes, the best photo isn't the one you planned for, but rather the one that you just stumble upon.